right, let's do it.
Excuse me.
Hi.
Hi. Who are you?
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You sound American.
I am American. You sound British.
What's that?
Say it again.
Say that again, sorry?
Said you're not from here. You're
No,
not
no.
American.
Most people say Australia.
English?
Yes.
Yeah.
From across the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Just here to meet you.
Basically, yeah.
What's your name again? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
1 second. 1 second. I have to go now.
Right.
Just 1 second. Just a quick. I just wanted to say hello.
Hi.
You seem kind of cute.
I'm kind of cute. I'm
Yeah,
alright.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
What's your story?
So long. We don't have enough time. There's not enough time in the day.
Yeah, I know. We should get together. And
What are you doing?
you tell
You're
me
in
that story.
Vegas. Are you hanging out?
No, I was just going to Starbucks to meet
Yeah.
a friend,
Uh-huh.
and I just saw you, and I had like 5 minutes to kill.
What
So-
are you doing in Vegas?
I'm just like traveling.
Just for fun?
Yeah,
Vegas?
I have a friend here,
Uh-huh.
so I get to like stay like in this place, like so it's like cheap rent.
Yeah.
So it's like I
free
can stay for
vacay.
longer.
I have a friend in Hawaii. That's how I'm his friend, but it's
Yeah,
perks for sure.
So it's like cheap rent, so you can stay for like for longer period.
How long do you stay for?
Like a month.
Yeah.
Most people are like a month. Fuck.
Yeah.
I met this guy in one club, and it was like, a month? You're gonna get so fucked up
Yeah.
after a month. Like,
Uh-huh.
but you've got to like be careful. Like, don't drink too much, or
Nah, I
like,
don't drink.
don't-
I only,
don't go out
I
at
only
night.
came to like return a few things and then I'm good. I don't like the strip, so
you like this shit.
I don't drink. I stay away from it.
I heard downtown is kind of cool.
It started.
the old
they just
shit.
started. Yeah, they just started to turn it into like this really hip place. So I think it's cool, but I still would never go.
Yeah.
On my
What are
own
you
time.
doing? What's at this second?
Cool. What is good and what is bad in this set?
No strong intent.
Okay. There's some. I wouldn't say it's super strong. He did say you stop for a second, which is intentful. He did say you're cute, which is intentful. So there's some. It's not super strong. This is true, but there's definitely. I think she knows what he's there for, right? So intent isn't exactly what's missing. There's something similar to intent that's kind of missing, but intent to an extent is there at least.
I think that's the keynote so much.
Okay.
Like a direction, like the possible date.
Okay, good. Direction is definitely something I was going to say earlier. Up until the point where you stopped her, right? When she was going to leave and then you stopped, no, 2 seconds, stay, just a minute or whatever you said. Up until that point, there definitely was a lack of clarity of direction. It was clear that you wanted to talk to her, but it was not clear what for, and it felt like you didn't know. So it felt like you were like, follow my lead to nowhere. Does that make sense? So that was definitely the case at first. Once you made that strong move of, hey, no, stop, and got her to stay and talk to you, I feel like there is more leadership. There's still, I don't know exactly what you want. You're thinking like, let's get a number, right? You're just like number and eject seems to be your plan. But yeah, it's not strongly there. You are correct. It's not as purposeful as it could be. So that's one thing that's missing, and was missing definitely at the start. That's why she wanted to leave at the start, because no purpose. Now there's more, so it's better, but still missing. There's still one other thing that's really missing in this set. And it's similar to intent. A lot of people confuse it for intent, but it is different. Okay, here's what's missing in the set. Negative expressions of any kind. Especially negative expressions about her, like negative polarity of some kind, okay? This girl, how many things have you done that are potentially validating to her? Several, right? How many things have you done that are just neutral and conversational? Quite a few. How many things have you done that are in any way challenging or negative? Like 0, okay? So this girl, she made...
The point where he decided to stop walking, he was like, yeah, I'm going to leave, and that's kind of...
This is disqualifier. We said that I only have a little bit of time, but that's actually not negative about her. It's like I'm on a schedule, right? So that makes her more comfortable, but it doesn't necessarily negative. But you're right, that probably did help the set a lot, the fact that he did that. Okay, so... Huh? Sure, it's early. I mean, she's still standing here, right? As long as she's still there, there's an opportunity to start doing the right thing. But it's something that needs to happen. Because right now, does she have any doubt as to whether she could have him? No, right? Does she feel like she needs to work to earn his attention? No, not on any level, right? So if this does go down, it'll be a situation of, oh, he was nice, he seemed cool, I gave him my phone number, we'll see what he's able to do from there, right? But it's clearly in the frame of you're chasing her, not the frame of she's chasing you. And it's clearly you're not a source of validation for her. You're a source of, oh, nice, pleasant conversation or something like that. But she's not going to be like leaving this being like, oh my God, I hope he calls me. Or oh my God, I hope I didn't say something dumb to him. Or you know what I mean? She's not going to be totally wrapped up in it. Okay? And that's actually why she's like lightly hooked but not strongly hooked. Because she is enjoying the attention and she's even having a pleasant conversation, but she's not deeply invested in anything. Okay, there's no investment, there's no buy-in on her part.
So how do you change that by using negative expressions and challenging her?
Use negative expressions, push her away a little bit. Yeah, set up some frames of you having value, right? The other thing you can do is you did the false time constraint, which helped a little bit, but even actively push her away, be like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that, you can go now. That kind of stuff, right? Tease and kid like that. Now, the difficult part about that is, on the one hand, that's the stuff that will take your hook and make it a better hook. On the other hand, if she's not hooked enough and you push her away too hard, she'll leave. So you have to be a little bit calibrated with it. But that's what's missing in the set here, is there's absolutely no negative expression. Okay? Cool. So direction first, it was missing and still is. And secondly, direction? Well, what's your plan for the set?
Take her like to have a coffee or something.
Cool. But you haven't said that though, right? You've suggested sort of vaguely a phone number a couple times, like you've hinted that direction, but you haven't suggested anything about you doing anything with her at all, right? So you talk about that direction. You talk about that plan.
What am I doing? My girlfriend's gonna meet me. We're
What
just
time?
gonna hang. Probably in like 30 minutes.
Let's go grab a coffee or something until she comes.
Huh? Are you meeting
With
somebody now?
with a cute English guy.
Huh?
No, because I'm going to meet him like in half an hour or 40 minutes or something.
Yeah, okay. Well,
So it's just that way.
I'll be here. I'll be walking around.
What's that?
What a cold ass.
I said I'll be here. I'll be
Let's
walking
go.
around. Huh?
Let's go.
Go where?
We'll like chat a bit. Chat
Meet
for a
your
bit.
friend?
No.
Okay, so here she's actually confused. Because, well, A, she's maybe not complete. Again, she's not bought in because she's not invested yet, so she's not chasing you. She doesn't feel a strong urge to go with you. She doesn't feel a strong urge not to necessarily, but she doesn't feel a strong urge to. The other thing, though, is she is confused because you said you're meeting your friend in 5 minutes, and now you change your story to 30 or 40 minutes, right? Generally, the false time constraint, you want to be a little bit vague about it so that you can get out of it more easily, right? Like, I can't stay long. I have to go do something in a minute or in a few minutes or whatever, right? And then she's like, what? Well, how long or whatever? Oh, yeah, it's actually, he told me he's running late, so it'll be a while, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can do your 30 or 40 minutes kind of thing, right? But you were very specific. You're like, I'm meeting him in 5 minutes. So now that's why she's confused. She's like, and I'm meeting him at 5 minutes at Starbucks. And you're like, will you come to Starbucks with me? So then that's why she's like, to meet your friend. Because it makes total sense in her mind and in the mind of anyone listening to this conversation that you are going to meet your friend. Right? So be careful, like just what you've put out, it is kind of hindering what you're trying to go for. Does that make sense? Yeah. So just be a little careful about that.
We'll finish before he comes. Don't worry. You have nothing to do anyway.
See, so now because your story didn't make sense, now you're in sort of like pleading and backtracking mode. Right? It's almost like if, say, you're trying to make plans with a girl, and you're like, oh yeah, so I'm busy Tuesday, but I could see you either Monday or Wednesday. And she's like, well, Tuesday's the only day I could do. You're like, well, actually, I think I'm free on Tuesday. And now it's like, okay, maybe since you agreed and she agreed or whatever, maybe you'll get the date with her, maybe. But she's going to be like, wait, I thought you had something on Tuesday. And even if you do follow through it and make something work, it looks very needy. You're like, oh, no, I can push my schedule around. I'll do anything for you, et cetera. It's clearly establishing this frame of her as much higher value and you as not valuing your own time. So you do want to be careful about that kind of stuff.
So should he stick to the, I have to leave in 5 minutes, let's exchange numbers?
No, he should go for the best he can, which in this case is venue changing her. It's just because he did the 5 minute thing, he kind of has a hole to dig himself out of. I still would have gone with it. Actually, I would have been like, probably I would have said like, oh, you know what, let's just go chill somewhere for, like I said, I only have a few minutes, but let's go somewhere for just a couple minutes. Yeah. And then once she's already walking with you, then I would introduce the like longer thing. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'd baby step it to get yourself out of it.
I had to return something, actually.
It's not like urgent or anything.
It's not urgent, but
I know I'm not patronizing. If you want, go ahead. It's fine. It's just like it's a nice way to pass your time.
Yeah, no, it's nice to meet people. There's some interesting people here, for sure.
Have you met an English guy before?
Have I ever in my life? Yeah. Have I like talked and had a long conversation? No.
Oh, so now's your chance.
No, I think I've had a longer conversation with somebody maybe.
Have you met an English boy from?
What's the difference though?
What do you mean?
What's the difference between an English guy and an American guy? What in your opinion is the difference?
So what she's asking you to qualify yourself, right? And this is good though. This is actually good. Okay. If a girl asks you to qualify herself, what do we call that? A shit test, right? And what is a shit test really?
A way to demonstrate you're a man.
Right. Okay. So a shit test means one of two things. It either means that you're on her radar as a potential prospect, but she's not convinced yet, which is good because you're on her radar as a prospect at least, right? It means that. Or the other thing it can mean is that you've threatened her frame. Okay. She has this base understanding of the world, this frame that she's living through. And if you say something that calls that into question or that conflicts with that, that's when you're likely to get a shit test. But that's good too, because if you want to get her into your frame, you have to challenge her frame. Okay, so it means one of the two. Either you're challenging her frame, which is good because that means she at least cares enough about you for what you say to be a challenge to her frame, or she considers you a prospect but hasn't decided positively yet. Either way, it means the door is open, but you still have work to do, right? But that's a good thing. I mean, like if you could, between having not opened a girl and you've opened a girl and gotten a shit test, opening and getting a shit test is a long ways towards a good set, right? So this is a good thing, but you have to handle it properly. Let's see if you do. Let's see if you handle it properly. Give a second.
What's the difference between an English guy and an American guy? What in your opinion is the difference?
I don't know. To be honest, I haven't been here long enough to actually study like the differences. But yeah, English people, I don't know, because I'm like used to them. So
So
to me, they're a bit like more friendly, like a bit more open.
I've heard
Whereas
that
Americans
aren't as friendly. That's why, trying to give Americans a good
That's
name
why I
here.
like.
I'm just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so that's a decent. So what's good and bad about that shit test pass? What's good about it, first of all?
Well, he didn't really answer it.
Yeah, you didn't really answer it. That's what's good and what's bad about it, actually, technically, at the same time. So what's good is you weren't emotionally reactive. Okay, you didn't get all like flustered or bent out of shape or like try super hard to qualify yourself. So you avoided the mistake. You avoided the pitfall, right? What you kind of did, though, is you just like pleaded ignorance. You're like, well, I really don't know, right? And then you answered it logically, which it's better than getting emotional about it, but it's not the best. It's like you had this opportunity and you just like failed it. Not failed it, but you didn't fail it, but you didn't make the most of it. Okay? It's like if you were a boxer and you're training, you're trying to get a big fight, and then suddenly some big fighter like lines up to spar with you or lines up to fight you, and then so if you got in the ring and like got your ass kicked, that would demonstrate to the world you're like incompetent and like can't handle that level. If you got in the ring and beat him, that'd be fucking amazing, right? What you did is you like ducked the fight. You basically like avoided the fight. You're like, oh no, I'm busy at that time. I can't take this fight. Does that make sense? So it didn't really hurt your reputation, and maybe a little bit because it looks like, oh, I backed down slightly. Didn't hurt your like necessarily reputation as a boxer, but it also like you missed an opportunity that you could have really massively improved your reputation as a boxer. Does that make sense? So there's a few things you can do. So one way you can go is like the cocky route, like the cocky but kidding route. So it's like what's different about English people? Like, well, other than the fact that we're all just amazing and charming, and other than that, really nothing, right? So you could do it there where you're like false modest, but then it's actually like cocky beneath the surface. So that's one. And you could even like really exaggerate. Besides the fact that we're all amazing, rugged, have incredible accents and large penises. Other than that, I can't think of anything. No, we're just really the same, all right? That's one because it's like so over the top. It's like the agree and exaggerate kind of way of going about it. The other way of going with it would be like the go super modest way. She'd be like, so what makes English people? I don't know. I'm just a man. We just bumble around. We sound different. Some girls like that, but just a man. No big deal. What makes you different, right? Something like that, right? And put it back on her. And that's sort of the just don't get affected kind of thing. Or you could potentially misinterpret it Be like, what makes Englishmen different? Like, you'd be like, oh my God, girl, what do you have on your mind? I just wanted to talk, but I'm so flattered, right? And misinterpret it as a compliment. There's a lot of different ways you could have gone with it. What you did is you just basically answered it logically. And to your credit, you didn't get emotionally affected. But again, you missed the opportunity to do something that would have an emotional effect on her.
No, not everyone is, super rude. Downtown, I think it would be like it's more like a hipster thing, kind of like California.
Yeah.
It's very like, I don't know, superficial.
And so now you're back to like pleasant conversation again, right? And this is not necessarily bad, but then what's missing still? Negative spikes, getting her to challenge, taking a direction. So those things still exist and still need to happen. And now because you've tried to close once and it was unsuccessful, now it'll be a little harder to close than it was before. But you're still in a fine shape. You still can make this work, but it needs all the same things it needed before.
I was in California like last weekend.
Yeah, me too.
It's so much better than Vegas.
What part of California were you in?
I was in LA.
In LA. I was in San Diego. It's a nice break from 113-degree weather.
I heard San Diego's pretty cool.
San Diego's nice.
Are you from San Diego?
No, I'm from here. Originally from here.
That's okay. That's okay.
It's all good.
San Diego. You should move to San Diego.
No.
I'll be there so we can like hang out.
I don't like California. I feel as people are even less friendly than if you.
Right. Is this conversational topic taking you anywhere?
No.
No. Okay. So what do you need to do?
Cut it and start a new one.
Try something risky. Try something that can go somewhere. Make it about her. All right. This is something some of you who have been here for a while will have heard. A lot of you who are new won't have heard. One way to escalate verbally is talking about small talk is like no escalation verbally at all. Talking about yourself is one step better. It's more intimate to talk about yourself than to talk about small talk. Next more intimate thing is to talk about her, right? And actually not just like general things about her, but actually about her. Be like, oh, you know what's amazing about you, you know what's interesting about you, you know what I love about you, you know what I hate about you, that kind of stuff, right? Talk directly about her, not just about like, if she's from California, talking about California is still not really talking about her, all right? Make this shit personal.
You could go that route and then transition it from that conversation.
You could. I'd be like, oh, well, the other way is you're talking about California, you'd be like, oh, well, the thing about California people is this. So wait, are you like that?
Yeah.
That's talking about her, for sure. But you need to bridge that gap of like the safety of talking about a general topic to actually talking about her, right? And then the best way to do it, so you go small talk or random shit, I is better than that, and then you talking about her, and then the best is we, talking about you and her together. We're not going to go on, oh my God, we have so much in common, this is disgusting, whatever, all right? So nothing, I, you, we. So that's the escalation, right? Right now you're just talking about bullshit topics. Occasionally talking about yourself, bullshit topics, occasionally yourself. Break that gap, do something dangerous, talk about her, right? Challenge her, give a negative expression. It's possible she'll get offended. It's possible she won't like it, but if you never like get through that, if you never broach that level of intimacy, it'll never go anywhere. So you have to take that risk.
Experienced people here, like California people are kind of like bougie, and it's not my scene.
I
Like
think
I'm
that's
not a
mainly
huge
LA though.
fan of Vegas,
Yeah.
but I don't talk to a lot of people. I don't have a lot of friends here.
But like LA, there's a lot of like superficial,
That's what it is.
superficiality I've heard.
Yeah.
Like a bit of like looking down on people. I don't know.
Yeah.
But San Diego's like more chill.
It's my first time like going out there in a while, so it's hard. I kind of just keep to myself a lot of times. So yeah.
I can't believe we're standing in the mall talking about English people.
See?
Let's go sit down.
I gotta go return this. It was nice meeting you.
It's nice to meet you.
Oh, wait, hello. Nice to meet you.
One second.
What was that? I know.
That's a very obnoxious time for her to get a phone call too. That's annoying. Because right then you were going to probably try and close, but then it's like, oh fuck, whatever, right? Yeah, that's annoying.
It's the best. The best. Are you almost here? No. Oh, no, I did. I already did. Okay. Okay, what are you doing after that? Alright, are you headed back to your side? Okay, well if you want to stop by once you're here, let me know.
In after.
Yeah. No, she's here yet. I think she's...
Good. Because like that looked like a conversation that was about to end quickly. So I'd let it go as long as it looks like. Once it starts to look like it's gonna be a long conversation, then you're like, hey, cut it off. Like, just give it a second, call her right back or something. But as is, she's getting off the phone, so now you close. And you also know she's meeting someone, so now the like idea of an instant date probably isn't good anyway. So phone number is the best you're gonna do.
What time is it? Should be here. I'm gonna text her.
But you have to jump in and do something here. As soon as she was off the phone, be like, hey, right? Interrupt, because you're letting her lead again. Right? As soon as she took the phone down off her ear and she's like, I'm gonna text her in a minute or something, then you're like, hey, 2 seconds before you do any of that, come here, right? Be assertive.
On her way. Yeah. Okay.
There you go. So right now, you got to jump on this. You got to take charge.
What are you doing later?
And that's the wrong one. Right? That's the wrong way. That's too slow. And also what she's doing later, you already know. You just heard it on the phone.
I don't like tonight, probably I meant, but
Yeah. But
long way.
well, either way, if you're going to meet her later, what do you need in order to make that happen? Because there's going to be a gap. Phone number, right? So do that as simply as possible, and then once you have that, do the what are you doing later thing. Don't complicate the process. That's the same thing from like yesterday, right? When you have an opportunity to like get a step out of the way, take care of that step, and then do the other stuff outside of it.
We should go for a drink.
I don't drink.
See, yeah, what are you doing? So now you've, instead of getting a phone number, which you could probably get here, now you've made it, let's get drinks tonight. So if the answer to that is no, the answer to the phone number is going to be no. You've made your objective harder now. Does that make sense?
Coffee, tea, English people.
And now you just look needy as fuck. Like, no drink, coffee, tea, donuts, crumpets with stand and watch grass grow, anything. I'll do anything with you, please. Right? It just looks like all of a sudden super needy.
English people and tea. Like tea, I find tea nowhere over here. I said I just want tea.
There's a tea place on Town Square.
Is that near like the strip? Or?
Cut the shit. There's a tea place in Town Square is not the conversation you have right now. You need to close. Either close or don't close at this point. You need to be assertive.
Actually, sorry, people meeting me here.
Like busy schedule.
Town Square. Your friend, if he's from here, he'll know.
Okay.
There's like this tea place. It's like real legit tea though.
Okay.
Like with cool stuff.
I'll tell you what. Maybe I'll get your number and maybe we'll go drink some tea.
Give my number out. Give my number out.
Facebook.
See, again, it's too much chasing. And it's all, maybe I'll get your number is not sure enough either. Okay? Never, maybe I'll get your number. Never, can I have your number? Nothing like that. What's your number? Right? Or put your number in here. Or we should hang out sometime, like, wait, how do we do that? Something like that is fine. But like, can I have your number makes their number of value, their number of privilege. And if you say maybe I'll get your number or something, that's like even worse because it's like weak. I don't believe in it. Maybe I'm hoping, fingers crossed, right? Certainty, right?
Do you think you would have gotten it if it were really just for the what's your number? Like,
I don't think in this context it would have. He probably still wouldn't have, or at least he would have gotten hesitation. But had from the moment when he could have asked, he'd done it the right way, I think he could have. Right? From the moment that he knew she was leaving and meeting a friend and stuff, if he'd handled it everything right towards the close, then he could have. Even though the set itself was lacking. Right? The real issue isn't the way you asked for the number. The real problem is that you didn't have negative expressions in your set. You didn't get into her like bubble of her, so to speak. You weren't invasive enough, and you weren't assertive and leading enough. Those are the real problems in the set. However, even had you done those things wrong, you could have squeaked by and gotten a number by just like getting the procedure of asking for the number right and being smooth about it. Quite possibly. Not 100%, but quite possibly. Does that make sense? Yeah. But the real answer to the set is take more risks, be more like willing to be negative, be more willing to do things that are offensive. Okay? This was just a very friendly set, and you seemed like a cool, nice guy, but you didn't do anything to really like shake her, right? It's like I'll use another like boxing metaphor, I guess. It's like you were in the ring with her and you just circled her the entire time and you never threw a punch. You didn't get hit a lot, right? You didn't like get beat up, but you just never really threatened her either. Like you never got in her space. You just like circled each other the entire match. Make sense? You never did something. And yeah, when you go in there, you could get knocked out. But when you get in there, you can knock her out too. Make sense?
Just a question. What do you think about the body language? Like, I think it's not like.
It's fine.
the legs,
It's casual and it's a little bit like.
It's different. So.
It does. It's not his biggest issue, but it does. I mean, yeah, it would help if he wasn't like going back and forth like this. It would help if he didn't cross his legs and was he standing, that kind of stuff. But like, if all that stuff is like 1 out of 10 importance, the like showing intent and like negative expressions and like getting into her, like making it about her, is about like 9 out of 10 important. So yes, that's important, but it's way, way, way down the scale from the other stuff.
Yeah, because like when he's like asking for something like risky, I mean something important, like I feel like he's changed his body language.
Yeah, he's a little nervous. He's a little nervous, for sure.
Sometimes when he took a step back, it kind of like released the pressure. Was good.
It can be. It's the same as the false time constraint. Yeah, it can be. All that does exist, I suppose. And I could go like micro detail, like this was good body language, this is bad body language. But all of the body language in this set is probably less important than the showing risk, not taking risks, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's there, but I wouldn't say it's the biggest factor.
What do you mean by negative expression?
I hate you. Oh my God, I can't believe you said that. Oh, we're not gonna get along. Oh God, that was so retarded. Oh, you're so like, there's something weird about you, right? Any of those kind of things, any kind of thing negative, right? Or when she's saying like, oh, California people are bougie, I'd be like, oh, and you should talk, right? Something like that, whatever. Anything that is potentially like, could be perceived of as a negative, or could be perceived as, or challenging would be one thing. Like, you're a cute girl, but like, you know, that just only goes so far. What else do you have going for you? That's potentially a negative expression because it's a challenging expression, right? Or, go ahead.
What if her reaction was like, oh, okay, then why are you talking to me?
Good, then that means that you did it miscalibrated, and that'll happen sometimes. If you go for more compliance than she's willing to give you, that will happen. But the point is, at some point you have to go for some kind of compliance, right? And that's the like art of game. That's the art of the game, is to know exactly how much you can go for it at any given time. But you know that if you don't do anything, it will go away. Okay, so the equation I used to use for this is for escalation in general, but it's like, imagine that you're tending a fire, right? You have this fire that's burning on like, you know, has a certain amount of sticks and logs and whatever, and it's burning, okay? Now you know that if you sit back and never do anything to the fire, it will eventually go out. It will slowly burn out, and there won't be a moment where it like, just like, it won't be a disaster moment, but it will slowly inevitably burn out because you're just not doing enough to keep it going, right? That's what this was. This was a set where he wasn't doing enough to keep it going. Now, on the other hand, if you threw so much kindling on it all at once that it smothered the fire, that would be overdoing it. That makes sense? You don't want to do that either. But you know at some point you got to experiment and put something on the fire, because if you don't, it's going to go out. So what you do is you experiment with like a little twig, and you're like, was that enough? Okay, cool. Now you take a bigger stick. Like, is that enough, right? And hopefully none of those kill the fire as you go. And then you find out that you can put a big log on there, and then it'll last for quite a while. Does that make sense? But so what you do is you start with small negative expressions that are pretty safe, and hopefully those don't blow you out. And then if those don't blow you out, you go with a bigger negative expression, maybe at some point. And it's not all negative expression. Not like you're going to stack a bunch of them one after another, right? So you go negative expression. Oh, it worked. Okay, cool. Talk for a little bit. Maybe now a little bit bigger negative expression. That makes sense? Then talk for a little bit of a bigger one. And you find out what you can get away with. And then maybe you throw a big one on there, and she says, hesitant. You're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. Back off, and you know that was the limit. And so now you know what you can get away with. That make sense?
Can you do those negative expressions always with a sense of fun and teasing, or do they actually need to be a little bit sharp sometimes to have an effect?
It depends. Okay. First of all, here's a general rule of immersion and of life. Anytime you ask me a question that says always or never, I'm always going to answer it depends. Okay? Or actually, anytime you ask me a question that's always or never, I'll just say no, right? Because it's never always and it's never never, right? There is gray area. Life has gray area. So when you say, is it always okay to be playful? Do you need to be harsh sometimes? Or is it always harsh? Is it sometimes playful? Neither, right? It should be sometimes one, sometimes the other. Your level of harshness should vary depending on the girl and depending on your relative value to her. If you have very high value, then on the one hand, you can get away with something very harsh. On the other hand, if you have very high value, you probably don't need something so harsh, right? If you have low value, you probably cannot get away with something harsh because you'll just be an asshole. So you probably have to go with something that's more more friendly or more like funny or playful. But on the other hand, if you could go with something harsh, it would be even more effective and more useful because that's what's really needed in the set, right? So it's kind of a weird paradox there. But you just calibrate to the girl, right? For example, take the line, "You and I would not get along," which is a great line in game, right? If you said that to like a cute like 6 or 7 who's like bubbly, oh my God, you know what? I'm just not sure you and I are gonna get along, right? Kind of playful, right? Whereas with like the harsh, bitchy 10 or whatever, sometimes she says something like, oh my God, that was fucking retarded. You and I are not gonna get along. It's like way more harsh, right? Or with like the 6, 7, maybe she says something to me, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. That's retarded, right? With the 10, you go like, did you really just say that? Seriously, like shoot yourself right now, right? You see the difference, right? So it's the same line, but like the degree changes based on how much they need you to just hit them in the face with value.
I don't have Facebook, no social media.
WhatsApp.
I'm a weird person.
Are you like a, what's it called? Like a clean,
Like a recluse? No,
a
not
cleanie, like.
So, do you think this girl never gives out her number? When she says, oh, I don't just give out my number. Is that true? Does the girl just not give out her number? She's like the one girl on earth. She just like, her phone is empty. She has her family and people she's known from school in it, and that's it ever. Right? Is that true? No. Okay, cool. So when she says, I don't give out my number to you, in this case, this is going to sound harsh, but it's not personal. What is she actually saying?
I don't like you.
No, she's actually not saying that. She likes him fine.
She's not attracted.
Huh?
She's not attracted yet.
I'm not motivated enough to take that risk with you. Okay? It's not that I don't like you. It's not that you don't seem nice and friendly, and not that I think that that our interaction would be negative. It's just I don't see enough upside to merit the potential awkwardness. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because if I give you a number, it's possible that you'll call me a bunch and it'll be awkward or annoying or whatever. And I see myself, if I were to hang out with you, or I see myself if I gave you the number, as probably just ignoring your calls and not following through. Not because I don't think you're a nice person, but because I have other things in my life, right? I have other friends, I have other obligations, and there's no way, I don't see myself finding a day where you're a bigger priority than those. Does that make sense? Doesn't mean I don't like you, doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you haven't done enough to be on my radar in that way, which again is you didn't penetrate my little bubble. You didn't make me seek your validation. You didn't make me chase. Make sense? Yeah.
Well, here they were filming, so I guess the question doesn't really apply. But like, should you go for the close even if you know that it's probably not gonna work?
You're still better off having it than not because you might surprise yourself. Also, there's the chance that you'll do something good in your text game or in your follow-up that will somehow like make it pop. Yeah. Right? So it's possible you get a really weak number and then you send her like a funny message and that message is just cute enough that she responds. So you never know. So it's still better to get something than nothing, at least with a total stranger. Does that make sense? With a girl that you're never going to see again, still better to get something.
Okay, but I mean, if you know that she's not going to give you your number. Like,
oh, if you
said no one time, and you know that if you ask a second time, it's going to be no.
Right. Obviously, if you knew 100%, then yes, you shouldn't ask. Okay. But do you ever know 100%?
But it's like 90%. That's
that's up to you. That's up to you. Like on a pure math basis, no. Yeah. On a pure math basis, as long as there's a 1% chance you should ask for it. In reality, if like there's a certain point where it's like, okay, fuck it, this is like ridiculous, never mind. Right? In reality, yes. But for most guys fall so far short of that my usual advice is just try for it no matter what. Because most guys err way, way, way on the side of not trying rather than on the side of trying too hard.
Like, no alcohol, no drugs, no Facebook.
Yeah, no drugs, no Facebook, no alcohol.
So when are you moving to the monastery? Just kidding.
Right?
Right there, that was your first negative expression. Good job. And as per usual, this happens a ton, right? When did you do it? Once you'd given up, right? It's so often that happens, especially guys if their sticking point is that they don't like take risks, right? As soon as they don't want to ruin it, they don't want to take that risk, whatever. But as soon as they've given up, now their real personality comes out and they become a bit of a dick, right? Or they're unstifled and they feel like they have nothing to lose, so they take that risk. So right there, that when are you joining the monastery, that type of thing, if you'd done that earlier in the set, I think you would have gotten her number. Or maybe even gotten an instant date. I don't know how soon her friend is coming, right? But had you done that earlier, I think the set would have gone well. That's what was missing in your set.
Fun. I just don't need to be like intoxicated to have fun.
Yeah, because like the human brain is like overstimulated nowadays.
Yeah.
There's so many going on.
Yeah.
Do you know that we watch like there's 2,000 ads a day?
And you're also now leading the conversation a bit as well, too. This is another thing that should have been happening more, right? Giving your opinions, et cetera, et cetera. Now you're kind of agreeing with her on this. It'd be even better if you were like giving this and then occasionally disagreeing with her, just because she needs the negative spikes. But this is, again, much better.
Trying to get our attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it. I don't watch TV. I don't
Overstimulating.
have TV in my room.
I like your. Are those fake eyelashes?
Maybe.
Yeah,
We're in
it's
Vegas.
impossible to.
Good, another negative expression, right? Now, all of a sudden, now that you've given up, you're actually flirting with her. Are those fake eyelashes, right? Huh?
What's the exercise of doing, because there's an exercise, right? But like, is it like failing or something?
Trying to fail the set.
Yeah, is that?
You can do that. Like going in and just like, yeah, trying to fail the set, but fail it in an interesting way rather than a boring way. Yeah, have no outcome. And even if you start to succeed, if she starts to like you have to find a new way to fail. So you're not allowed to succeed. Yeah, that's an exercise you can do sometimes. Mostly, you don't even need to do that. You just need to remind yourself, go ahead and take some risks and have negative expressions. Just like have it in your mind. It's okay. It's okay to have a set end negatively. Right? What you need to do, probably more than anything else, is you need to like get enraged whenever the girl says it was nice to meet you. Like when the girl says it was nice to meet you, you should be like, fuck, I fucked up, right? If the girl says fuck off, you're an asshole, you should be like, good, I did a good set. Or at least like I did a set that had a chance of succeeding. I did a set that affected her emotionally, right? And of course, if she goes, I love you, you're amazing, obviously that's good too, right? But you should start to view, okay, nice to meet you, as the worst outcome from a set. Once you start to view it that way, then it's going to be painful for you hearing nice to meet you, and that's going to force you to do what gets not a nice to meet you, which is taking risks, having negative expressions, etc.
Vegas,
It's
so
impossible.
there's a lot of fakeness going on.
It's impossible for them to get so long without like gluing them on the side.
There's some fake. No, these are like the ones that like the extensions. They last for forever.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean I'm in a relationship, so it's probably not a good idea to be
Fair enough.
married.
I don't. Fair enough.
Nice meeting you.
It was nice meeting you though.
Nice meeting you.
I don't shake hands
don't-
anymore.
we don't-
I don't like. Okay. See you later.
Bye.
Yeah, but decent, especially towards the end, right? Yeah. And relationship or no, I think you would have gotten a lot closer, if not gotten something, had you done the things you did at the end earlier in the set.
Hesitation. Excuse me. No phones. No texting on the elevators.
Look, already a negative expression, much better, right? Now, it may be received well, it may be received badly, but at least now you're like, shh, she's going to pay attention. This is better. No phones. He's telling her not to text. He's telling her no phones, no texting here, etc. Right? First of all, he's teasing her and like joking with her in like a condescending way. But secondly, it's almost like he's reprimanding her. He's taking on the role as though he was like mall security or something like that, right?
You don't have to be challenging her, it could just be something about the environment or something.
Right. Well, it is in a way challenging her as well because this isn't a real role, right? He's teasing her. He's teasing her, making fun of her, like the British would call it taking the piss, right? That's a negative expression as well.
I think she might, if she's like a tourist, she might actually believe it's me.
Yeah, and then that's good because now she's fallen into your frame, right? That's really good.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I like your style. Hi.
Thank you.
Who are you?
This is not my day.
Are you having like a bad day?
Yeah, really, really, really bad day.
Well, just forget about everything and just relax in the moment.
Okay.
Try and relax. Try and breathe. I heard like breathing like relaxes you.
I'm leaving. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So, interesting there. Let me go back to her reaction to that. Let me go start. I would say the phone thing is not what killed you, though. What killed you was the way you followed up from it. But let's look.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I like your style. Hi.
Thank you.
Who are you?
So there you had her, right? She felt, she's like, okay, right? You had her. And then you immediately like went nice guy. You're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. Who are you? Right? And on top of it, it didn't look like you were having fun with it, with the joke. You looked like you were like sad, like scared that you made the joke. Like listen to yourself.
I think I saw that. I think that's our expression.
You're too nice. You're too nice.
Same thing with the monastery thing.
Excuse me, no phones. No texting on the elevators. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I like your style. Hi.
I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. I like your style. Right? There's no relaxation, there's no fun, there's no like alphaness there. Right? He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to mess with you, I'm sorry, right? In that case, if she reacted like negatively or scared or whatever, like, I'm sorry, I'm totally just kidding anyway, right? But like some smoothness to it, not just like, sorry, just kidding, who are you, right? Because now it looks like you took this like what was a good line and you're fucking with her, you're having a good time, you're asserting your frame, and because you apologized so quickly and then went immediately into who are you, what does it look like now? It looks like instead of this was my joke and I'm doing it for my self-amusement, it looks like this was my gimmick to get you to talk to me so that I could get you into a conversation, right? So this really, really high value thing has now been framed as a low value thing because your true personality, not offensively or whatever, your true personality being very nice came through. So your little dickhead joke was shown to be a gimmick and not your personality. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right, and so that's why she immediately is like,
Who are you?
This is not my day.
Are you having like a bad day?
Yeah, really, really, really bad day.
and then here, right, now you're gonna go super nice guy. Now you go super, super like, you're gonna make her problem your problem.
Yeah,
right? Right, and here you're like,
well, just forget about everything and just relax in the moment.
Okay.
Try and relax, try and breathe.
so there, forget about everything and relax. No, now you're actually trying to help her through a solution. You've made her problem your problem, right? If this was me, I'd be like, forget out everything. You've met me now, so your day's better. Right? Instead of being the nice, I'll help you out guy, stay that cocky guy. Stay the guy who believes he has value and believes he's offering something. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right? Don't relinquish your frame. Because basically you went in with an opener that is, I'm asserting my frame. And then the second it was challenged, you're like, no, I give up. They take the frame back. I'll be nice, I'll be nice, I'll be nice. And then you're just super nice, right? So what does this look like? It looks like incongruent and gimmicky. Make sense? I will give you credit, though, for going at the ballsy opener. Because that's what you needed from the last set, right? You needed that negative expression, so good job throwing it in. But here's the thing now. Throw it in unapologetically. Throw it in and don't apologize. Throw it in and just be like, fuck it. You like it or you don't, deal with it. All right?
I heard like breathing like relaxes you.
I'm leaving, thank you.
Funny.
Was that a nervous laugh or was it like a creepy laugh?
Excuse me. You have a serious thought on, a serious look on your face. I was just walking down there and I saw you and I had to say hi. Who are you?
Hi.
You sound Spanish, or Mexican, or one of that.
Yes,
Mexican, yes. I'm getting so good at reading people nowadays. In like Vegas, you meet so many people. Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi.
Who are you?
Margot.
Right, good persistence. Good persistence. You took what was a really technically bad open and have turned it into at least something where she's talking back. I don't know if it'll still go anywhere, but at least good persistence getting it there. One minor thing, we'll go back to this real fast. What are we at? 9:43. Okay, go back to where it opens. Let me show this real fast and then ask the question after. Give me a second. Okay, so here.
You have a serious thought.
Okay, sorry. Right here. Watch. Back to the left. Watch your angle of your approach here. Okay. One thing you want to avoid is getting in her way if possible. So you don't. Okay, just watch.
Excuse me. You have a serious thought on.
Do you see how she had to change directions twice there? Whenever that's happening, the set almost always goes badly. Almost always does. So for the most part, your attitude and your vibe are what matter. However, you do want to watch your angles, especially on moving sets. So if the girl's walking, you can get this on camera, I think, but if the girl's walking straight at you and you're walking straight this way, what you want to do is open from distance where it's far enough away that you're not really in her way, and then as you gradually approach, as you're talking, you'll end up like face to face. That's the ideal there, right? If you're coming from behind, you want to come up behind. You can either come up and walk alongside her or tap her on the shoulder or whatever, but you're coming up straight from behind, okay? If you're coming from the side, you have two options. One option is don't approach, just kind of call over or use your voice to traverse the distance, right? Or the other option is if you're gonna approach, kind of like mold, like think like tangential, like asymptote sort of thing, just like walk closer and along her path as opposed to crossing the path. The one thing that I see, for whatever reason, almost always fail is when you make a T, where she's walking and you come in at a T and like invade her path. Almost always it leads to that thing where she's like trying to get around you and she feels blocked, okay? And I think the reason for that is, well, one, you are literally invading her space. Like you are literally impeding her path of walking, so she does feel like threatened by that. She's like, oh shit. It's like kind of an aggressive move. The other reason is that you would never do that with a friend. If you saw a friend walking this way and you're coming at a T, you wouldn't meet them at the T. You'd start talking to them as you're approaching and then merge into their path. Does that make sense? So when you do this, it's very invasive and it's very much not the way you'd approach a friend. That's like the one angle that I see guys do over and over again that never works. So just try and avoid that. Try and avoid coming to a T to meet her, right? Whether that means turning and walking with, whether that means catching her further ahead, whether it means just if you're right next to her, like, and you just notice her shouting over instead of walking over and getting in her path. But as soon as you get in her path and she has to adjust it, girls' reactions to that is almost always universally negative. So just avoid that one thing. So that hurt you at the start here. The other thing, which is good and bad, is you're open. I actually don't mind it for you because at least, again, similar to the other one, you're bridging that gap of it's about her. Like you have this whatever negative expression on your face or whatever, right? However, it is a negative vibe at the start of the set, and B, remember how I said it's small talk, I, you, we? You're kind of skipping the small talk and I phases, so it's a risky opener. It's one where when it opens, it'll open well, but a lot of times you will get some negativity on the open. So it's a high risk, high reward type of a thing, which I don't mind for you, but be aware of it, right? The better way, like from a pure game standpoint, is to open with something less risky, i.e. small talk and I, and then go to the you after, or at least if you're gonna do the you, make it a positive you, so she's more likely to accept it. If you open with a negative you statement, you're asking her to accept a lot and really fall into your frame without you knowing you very much, so you're likely to lose a lot of sets right there. Okay, make sense? That's all like very technical, but it is what it is. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Whenever like a girl walks past and I open, right, and she continues walking, should I follow her or just
give up?
Yeah, stop. No, not give up. Like I don't want to be too like running after you kind of thing. So, I mean, yesterday I opened this girl when she was walking and she smiled.
I have a question for you. Do you have a better chance of sleeping with her if you're walking with her and talking with her, but you seem slightly needy, or if you never see her again?
Yeah. So just take that minute of awkwardness and then build from that.
Yeah, deal with it. Deal with it. Try and make it as smooth as possible, though. If you try and stop the girl and she starts walking and you stand there for 5 seconds and then go catch up with her, that's really awkward. If you walk and talk and then she walks past you and you immediately, as though it's nothing, just turn and walk with her, like it's totally fine and expected, then it's much less awkward, right? If you're thinking about it not being awkward, it'll be awkward. If you're just going with it because it's the right thing to do, it'll work more often than not. Make sense?
Because I was always thought that you should just...
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give you a piece of advice overall, and this is hard because I know you're in learning mode, and I know you like want to ask a lot of questions, you want to learn. In field especially, but even here, you're thinking way too much. You're thinking way too much. You're trying to do like every little thing perfectly, instead of just like what you should do is this: figure out what you think the biggest thing for you to work on is, and just do that the best you can, and let everything else just be what it is. Does that make sense? If you try and focus on 20 things at once, you're just gonna, like, your head's gonna explode. And if you try and be perfect, then every time you're not perfect, you'll be like, oh shit, that wasn't perfect, okay, I'm not entitled to get this set anymore. Fact of the matter is you don't have to do a perfect set to get the girl, and you're not gonna be perfect anyway, okay? So instead, just find the big thing for you to focus on, do the best you can with that, and then everything else, just accept that for the moment, right? And then later on, you can, once you get that one big thing handled, work on the next big thing. But don't overthink. Because that seems, from what I'm getting out of you, it's like, it's going to be very hard for you to be in flow and have fun in field with as much thinking as you're doing. Okay? So try and calm it and just focus on a few big things instead of 20 little things.
I'm getting so good at reading people nowadays. In like Vegas, you meet so many people. Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi.
Who are you? Sorry? I was just going to meet a friend in 2 seconds and I just saw you. and I just had to say hi. Hi. Just 1 second. Slow down.
No, I have to
My feet hurt.
Okay, yeah. So there it was kind of a lost, in some ways a lost cause from the start because it was negative, but good persistence. Yeah, let's not. There are things you could have done, but let's not delve too much into that. That one was kind of lost on the open, and then you did a decent job trying to turn it around. There are ways to turn those around, but that's not what you need to be working on right now. Don't worry too much about that.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Hiya.
How's it going?
Not bad.
English?
Getting drunk.
Yeah.
Yes.
You getting drunk?
Fellow English citizen.
Yeah.
How's it going? You like in Vegas?
Yeah, we like
Starbucks. You come to America to.
to have this job.
You come to America to drink Starbucks.
Quick question on that one. Sorry again, John, on this, but quick question on that. So how long had he been in this set before you walked in? Do you know? Okay. So I'll give you a few thoughts on this one because it's an interesting one. I always, whenever the girl's cute, I spend more time on it. Sorry. It's true.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Hiya.
How's it going?
Not bad.
Okay, first of all, why were you lingering there and then walking in like that? That first of all is not great, right? That's a little hesitant. So that's not great.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Hiya.
How's it going?
Not bad.
English?
Getting drunk.
Yeah.
Yes.
You getting drunk?
Fellow.
Okay, and then your frame here is very much let me get into your world, right? It's let me ask questions about you, and then let me try and find commonalities with you, right? So if you look at, we have 3 tonalities: trying for rapport, neutral rapport, breaking rapport. Is asking questions and then agreeing with them a lot, is that trying for rapport, neutral rapport, breaking rapport? Trying for rapport, right? And so when you're trying for rapport, are you conveying yourself as a badass that they need to get into your world, or are you conveying yourself as a needy person who would like to be in theirs? Exactly. So it's a subtle thing, but especially the hotter the girl, the more hot the girl perceives herself, or the higher social status she perceives herself to be, which generally equates to the hotter the girl, right? The less forgiving the situation will be in terms of that, okay? With a girl who's like not that hot, merely cute, or like just views herself as like average, sweet, whatever, then you'll get away with a lot in terms of that. You'll get away with like being a little trying for rapport, being in her frame a little bit. With a girl who views herself as a badass, and especially a girl who like is judgmental and views herself as a badass, she will like you'll get nothing from that. You just get, oh, okay, immediately screened, lower value, not interested by. Okay, so that's part of it. My other guess on this, and the reason why I asked how long has he been in the set, it's possible that you walked in before he had them hooked. Does that make sense? Yeah. When you're a wingman, when do you want to enter a set? After the hook, or?
Right at the beginning.
Possibly. You can walk in with him, that's possible. Assuming you didn't walk in with him. When else, besides after the hook? When else would you want to enter? Possibly. The obstacle is actually indicative of something else. The other situation is if he's about to lose the set. Okay, the 2 reasons you'd want to go in is either he has it hooked, so you can go in and get a soft landing, right? And that's nice, and you get welcomed warmly into the set, and it'll go smoothly. Or if he's about to lose it, you have nothing to lose by going in because you're helping him, or at least you're not hurting him. Does that make sense? But if he's just opened and they're still sort of deciding, they're still like, are we okay with this? Are we not okay with this, etc. And then another guy goes in, it's just like, oh shit, more of this thing we're not necessarily okay with. Okay, no, too much buy. Does that make sense? So you want to wait till, if you trust your wingman, you want to wait till he has them hooked, if possible. So that's a possibility that if it was to the point where they hadn't quite accepted him and then you go in, it's not necessarily that you did anything wrong, it's just too much stimulus. It's like there's too much shit to deal with. Path of least resistance, I don't want to deal with it. So they walk off. Makes sense? That'll happen a lot.
How's it going? You like in Vegas?
And then this here, that's also kind of, how I told you not to block them before? Yeah. Right, you kind of did that again. So instead, what should you have done technically is stand there, but be assertive with your voice. Does that make sense? Or be assertive with your actions, but not with like blocking. Because when you physically block, that just makes her more uncomfortable. Because again, would you physically block a friend from walking away? No, because you wouldn't think the friend is walking away, right? But as soon as you're physically blocking someone and like it's like, oh shit, he's insecure that I'm leaving, that's weird. I feel trapped. This is uncomfortable. Bye.
English, fellow English citizen.
Yeah.
How's it going? You like in Vegas?
Yeah, I really like Vegas.
Starbucks. You come to America to.
To have the Starbucks.
You come to America to drink Starbucks.
Okay. I'm gonna try and play these last ones longer, just so we get through them all. So I'm not gonna like micro edit them quite as much. Skip to the last one? Okay. Do you know how to find the last one? Like about what timestamp, or here, can you tell me? Okay. This one? This is the last one?
Yes. It's kind of a longer one.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I'll play it through. I'm gonna not micro edit it quite as much. The biggest thing to be looking for, by the way, like I can tell you right now, you have two issues that are kind of the same issue. One is you're too nice. Two is you're not assertive enough. Right? So you're having these pleasant conversations. You're actually like a fairly clever guy, and you're actually fairly like nice and pleasant to talk to. So you'll get good conversations per se, but you're not bursting their bubble enough. They're very comfortable with you. They're never knocked off balance. They never feel the need to qualify or justify themselves or chase you, because you don't have those negative expressions and because you're not making it personal enough. Okay. So what you need to do is be more assertive and take more risks, and be willing to be more negative if need be. Assertive is like,
With decision.
yeah, it's imposing yourself on the situation. Kind of, yeah, kind of like, so for example, an unassertive person, if they say you go to like customer service, right, and you just have a quick request, an unassertive person waits 10, 20 minutes for the other person to talk to customer service, and just sits there and waits for them to not be occupied. And then when they turn around and go in the back room, you wait for them to come out of the back room, and then you finally say hi to them. The assertive person goes, hey, sorry, this will just take a minute though, but which way's the or whatever aisle? Does that make sense? That's the assertive. The assertive person is like, my agenda matters, and I'm willing to be a tiny bit rude to get it across. Does that make sense? So that's the difference, assertive, unassertive.
Hi. Who are you? I just saw you. Why? You look really like really smart in those glasses and the braces. Hi. Nice to meet you. I don't normally shake hands, but for you, I'll make an exception.
Okay.
I usually like hug, but.
Well, you're supposed to handshake strangers, not like.
No, like, but handshake is more like a business kind of thing. Like, we just signed a contract, so we're shaking hands. How's it going? I actually have to meet some friends in 2 minutes, but I just saw you. I had to say hi.
Okay.
Who are you?
What?
Who are you? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Are you a student?
Sorry?
Are you a student?
Yes.
I guess right then. Let me see. You look like you study like law or business or something.
No.
Okay, so this is pretty decent so far. Okay, you went in a way that's not particularly invasive, but it's pleasant enough, nice enough, it'll get a decent amount of the time, right? You showed some intent, and now you're having a fairly normal conversation, walking away with fine. And now you're actually talking about her. You made a cold read, right? You seem like you're this kind of person. So instead of small talk, now you are doing the you thing, right? So you've actually burst the bubble a little bit. Now it's still not really challenging, but at least it's intimate. So far so good. For the start of a set, this is fine, and this looks like the kind of set you should be having so far.
Communications.
Like communication skills?
And actually, right, communication, she said it with like a little question in her voice. So she's already a little bit qualifying herself, a little bit potentially insecure. Now it can be she feels nervous and awkward because random guy talking to her. Could be she's qualifying herself, but at least you're getting an emotional reaction, right? So far, looking decent.
Yeah, which clearly.
So what kind of jobs can you get with that?
What kind of what?
What kind of jobs can you get with that degree?
Like, I don't know really. I just started school, and I just chose it.
See my.
Okay, so when she's going to school for 4 years to get a degree, and you say, what kind of jobs can you get with that degree? And she goes, I don't know. What would you say to your friend in that context? What are you doing with your life? All right? All right? Exactly. Why do you not say that to this girl? It'd be impolite, right? By which you mean it would make her panties wet. Right? Seriously, like, if you would tease your friend for that, fucking please tease the girl for it. Please. Right? Come on, that conversation, just listening to it, it sounds retarded. What are you going to school for? I'm going to school. Oh, cool. What kind of jobs can you do with that? I really don't know. Come on. She needs to be teased for this.
I feel like really young.
Yeah.
How old are you?
19.
Okay, yeah, not too young then. I was 19 4 years ago.
Oh, so you're 23?
Yeah.
So there's another opportunity for negative expression, right? Right? So 19, you're like, oh, not too young then. So that's a positive expression. Instead, if you want to say the exact same thing, be like, oh, that's good, you were almost too young for me. Right? You still say the same accepting thing, 19's not too young, 19's okay, but say it in a way that it's your frame and like she almost missed it, right? With a little negative expression there. Like 19, oh, you're just a baby, you just barely made the cutoff. If you were 1 year, or you're like 19, oh shit, if you were like 1 year younger, I wouldn't even speak to you. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's the same thing. You're still accepting, you're still saying 19's fine. But again, is it like, oh, that's okay. Oh, let's do this instead. Oh, you can't do a drink? Let's do coffee. Let's do this. Let's do this. No. Instead, your frame, your world, she can be a part of it, right? Understand what a badass you are. Understand, like, you're so cool, you're so funny, you have so much to offer. Understand it instead of, like, you're like, oh, let me get into your world. Instead of being like, my world's awesome, come into it.
I was by the way.
Oh,
If that means anything. If
Horoscopes,
you're into like astrology or something.
Not really, but some of them are true.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm from and over there it's like a big thing. Like and over there it's like a big thing.
Oh, really? So what's your sign?
Aquarius.
So this is fine, this is all going well. It's conversational, but it's all going well. At least she's asking you questions, right? So she's somewhat invested. So again, you still need all the same things, which is tease her more, negative spikes, etc. Also, because you're walking, you should try and find out how long you have, like what your window of time is. Because obviously, like if you have 30 seconds, it's gonna be different than if you have like 5 minutes. So that's important information as well.
Aquarius? Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. I'm going to Top Shop.
Fair, 2 seconds. 2 seconds. And then you can go.
Right? See? If you'd known that, right? If you'd known that she's going to Topshop in 30 seconds, you could have, when you got there, been like, okay, cool, before you go in Topshop, stop 2 seconds and talk to me, right? But now, because she's always said I'm going in Topshop, she's leaving, now you're playing defense. Does that make sense? So instead of being on the offensive, knowing and leading, now you're playing defense, which it's still not terrible, but like it would be better if you had known.
Okay.
So where do you hang out later?
I'm at work right now. I work at North.
Too sudden. But I like that you're closing, but it's like this the end anything from yesterday. Right? You're going straight for the close.
I'm at work right now. I work at Nordstrom.
At what?
I work at Nordstrom.
What do they do there?
It's just like sales. I'm at work right now. I'm just on my lunch break.
Cool. Let's grab a coffee later. Get to know each other better.
I feel
With a cute
flattered,
English guy.
But I have a boyfriend.
Okay.
I do, but you're really nice.
Do you want a lover?
No.
Get a boyfriend and like a lover. So.
Again, notice, as soon as it's over, now you're funny. Right? Now you're willing to say offensive things. That's way more offensive than all the things you weren't saying. Right? Oh, you want a lover? Yeah, it's good. It feels fun to do it, right?
Yeah.
Do that before. Do that early on.
And the kill for this is just think.
Yeah, well, understand that like you have nothing to lose, right? Instead of thinking, oh, I don't want to ruin the set, understand it's a stranger. There's nothing to ruin, right? Instead, like think like strike out or hit it out of the ballpark. Nothing in between. Who cares? I want the great set. I don't want the like mediocre, stumble along and nice to meet you set.
Like two.
That'd be cool.
And then everyone will be like jealous of you. Like, oh, she has the boyfriend and the lover.
You're so funny.
Only in the daytime. During the night, yeah. I'm depressed during the night. Only during the day.
During the day.
Only with cute girls around me.
Oh, thank you so much.
Right? You just became awesome. Congratulations. The second you got rejected, you became awesome.
Nice meeting you.
Okay. I'll let you escape. I'm just joking. See you later.
Cool. So we know that you have that in your personality. We know that you have that ability to be a badass. What you need to do is give yourself permission to do it from the start. Okay? Either permission to do it or give yourself the like you have nothing to lose. Right? You have nothing to lose. Right? And it's possible. On one level, it's possible that it's fear of failure. On another level, it's possible it is like fear of success a little bit, right? Because if it's as soon as you've lost it, like you can open up and be a badass. Maybe it's just that like your identity is I'm learning this. You don't have the identity of I'm a badass. I'm gonna get laid, and so it's not in your belief system. But then as soon as it's like, oh, okay, well she has a boyfriend, so now it's off the table. Now you let your personality out because now there's no chance of accidentally succeeding too. So I don't know if it's fear of success or fear of failure or which it is, but it's certainly like there's some outcome dependence to it, right? So yeah, get rid of the outcome completely, and also get rid of the middle ground. None of these like nice to meet you sets, right? This is like should be your mantra is like don't hear nice to meet you anymore. Don't hear nice to meet you. They can hate you, they can love you, but no fucking nice to meet you. Okay, cool. But yeah, good stuff. You actually have a lot of things like really on the ball, and actually your opening and follow up and continuing to talk and persistence is really really good. And when you loosen up and like let yourself out, you actually do a good job of like the negative polarization. You're actually quite funny. So that's all really good. You have all the elements. You just need to give yourself permission to use them in the right places. So, but yeah, looks good. Of course.